Hey gang, welcome to another episode of Help Hangouts, where we are going to be offering information to our Google for Education certified trainers. There's all sorts of wonderful information for them as well as they go and continue to develop their skills and knowledge. We're going to take a look at some information this week about Hangouts, which a lot of us use in various ways. So we'll take a look at how those people end up making use of the Hangouts. Some of us have Hangouts, Gmail, and calendaring working within the company they work with. Some of us don't actually use Gmail and calendars, but still are making use of some of the Google products. So Hangouts has a different way of addressing or being addressed by those different audiences, and we'll talk a bit about that. Before we get started, can I get our panel to start introducing themselves? We'll start off on to the right there with David.
Hey everyone, it's David. I'm program manager here for the Google for Education Certified Trainer program. I'll be sharing a little bit today about some of the new things that have been happening in the program, as well as some of the recent product feature updates that have been coming out of our team. So stay tuned.
Allison.
Oh, hi, my name is Allison Malika. I'm here on the East Coast. I'm a Google certified trainer and glad to be here.
Nick.
Hannah, Director of Instructional Technology for a large suburban school district in St. Louis, Missouri, and Google certified trainer and other Google certifications.
Justin, can we hear from you now?
Hey everyone, I'm Justin. I'm in the Google for Education team with David. I work mainly on the trainer program, and also I handle US and Canada GEGs, and I'm also happy to be here this afternoon.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, guys. So for those of you participating, we're going to be doing some question and answer period as we go through the presentation. This is the URL you need to open up and put in your questions. We've got goo.gl/slides/RTJ2J7. I'll give you a second to write that down because that's a big one. Slides/RTJ2J7. You also have the chat function that's in the YouTube stream there. So if you want to make use of that, just keep in mind that neither one of these actually saves the progress of those questions and stuff. So we'll try and answer them as best as we can while we're live. Go on next screen, please. Oh, my computer is. Can you guys still see me?
You just see the slides for now.
Okay. My computer's done something weird. If you want, while you're going through, we keep show notes of every episode we want. This is the URL to get to those show notes. So you don't have to write down all the links that we talk about and stuff. The show notes will actually have all those links in those documents. Makes it easier for you to just go in and click on whichever piece of information you're interested in. Our agenda today is going to be starting off with a recap here. Oh, there goes my mouse again. Starts off with the recap. Then we're going to take a look at what's new. There's some really cool announcements that's happened even in the last 24 hours. It's pretty neat. We're going to take a look at some trainer shout outs. Normally I have a guest speaker, but our guest speaker is going to be our panel where we talk about Hangouts today. Then we're going to look at some of the trainer submitted resources. The trainers are always encouraged to put in information into our database, and so it's an opportunity for us to share with each other. And what we try and do every month is try and highlight some of those resources. And again, well, looks like trainer shoutouts got repeated twice, but we'll only do it once. So let's start off with product updates. David, do you want to do this? Do you want to kind of back and forth between the two of us? How do you want to handle this one?
Yeah, let's all just tag team it. I think you guys know these products as well as I do, sometimes even better, really. So I'll just kick it off and just briefly touch on some of the product updates, and you guys please chime in. And then I'd like to spend most of our time actually talking about some of the two new resources that you've probably seen come across in the Google group. So in terms of like the product updates, we've had some interesting feature launches for Keep, Drive, Sheets, Slides, and Spaces. The one that I think now is most interesting is that Keep, our note-taking and kind of, our note-taking product is now part of the core G Suite. So now it has all of the product support that the rest of the core G Suite gets. So, you know, if you're looking to get support on Keep, it's now also part of the free G Suite for education. It was always free, but now it's definitely part of like the core G Suite applications. Guys, if anything to add on that?
Actually, David, I'm just going to do a quick screen share for everyone. The neat thing about Keep now is how it's built into Google Docs. And under the tools here, you get a new icon here called Keep Notepad. It actually links and brings in whatever notes you have from Keep right there. So you can either take a note here directly, you can highlight some text, and you can right-click and save it to the notepad, or just grab whole information, pieces of information, and drag it right into the document. That's a really cool name changer for a lot of people.
Really sweet. That's great to see that. Thanks for sharing, Trevor. And then in Drive, now sometimes files are protected by passwords, and you're unable to kind of preview it. And so now in Drive, there's a option to preview that document, even if it is password protected. Do you guys have anything to add on that? Okay, and in Sheets, this is very minor, but actually could be useful for many of you. You're able to now rotate your text in some of like in the cells. So instead of it all going horizontally, now some of the text can now go vertically as well.
I think that's worth just, you know, saying, Sheets people, pay attention, or trainers, let your Sheets people know, because anytime you share the littlest thing, I'll show people that it was almost 2 years ago that they allowed you to change the formatting of different characters within a cell. Every time I show that to a group of people, I get applause. So I think this is really going to be a big deal for folks that love Sheets and use Google Sheets and are always waiting for that next improvement. It's a big deal.
Yeah, I was at an elementary school last semester, and one of the secretaries like, I need to have vertical with the Google Sheets because I want the collaborative part, and it's not there. And I tried to look, and I found some really complicated formulas, and I was like, this is probably not going to work because you'll have to do too much to get it prepped. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, I sent an email off to her. I'm like, it's finally here. Enjoy.
A minor,
really nice.
like, it's a minor, but if it's actually could be a really big change for a lot of teachers and trainers, right?
Well, it's great for those things because sometimes, like, if you think of elementary school releasing buses, and you have to have a check mark for everyone who's there, but now you can have that date, so you don't take as much room, and so you can just make that check mark there. So it's great for printing type of stuff. It's also going to be just great for if you're embedding, and you just need that little bit of information, and you want it to take up. You want to maximize the space that you're given, and it shares that information in a quick and easy way.
Especially if you're using a column where all it is a Y or an N in it, but because of the question so wide, it takes up so much room. But then now at least you can bring it down. I wonder, has anyone tried it yet? Because I'd be interested to see how the filter function works, because before you had it wide, that filter would be in there. If there's anything different on that. All right, someone else look at it and get back to us.
And just the last two products that have been updated, Slides. You can now insert videos from Drive. Do one of you guys want to comment on that? I always thought that you could do this. Maybe I was just doing it a different way, like a roundabout way.
Yeah, I think it was several years ago. I think it was a feature in the beginning, and then it wasn't a feature anymore. So no, you haven't been able to do it maybe since the beginning of the time, or just for several years. But this is great for not having to go to YouTube to get student created work into a slide deck. So if they do a wee video and they make a digital story and they save it to Google Drive, they can share it just within their school or with the people they want to and put it in their slide deck. And that will save a lot of time and make it a lot easier for tech integrators and teachers to work with multimedia presentations with slides.
Yeah, I think because like my school, we can show Google or not YouTube videos, but they have to fall into YouTube education. But let's say that you've got a teacher created video or a public domain video that you want to share. You can do that now without having to worry about getting through the YouTube filter within your school. And I think sometimes, I mean, that's just the nature of the beast, and sometimes that's people's policy. YouTube is turned off for students. So how do you solve that problem if you're flipping your classroom? Well, now you don't have to worry about that anymore because you can have your videos in Drive and then share it that way. So that, I think, unlocks a lot of barriers that might have been there before. I mean, and really, if sometimes I think it's the name, I mean, I think schools would open up YouTube Editor if it wasn't named YouTube Editor. If it was called Drive Editor, it would be more opened up just because of the title. Because there's so many. It's a gold mine in YouTube, and sometimes it's a landmine too, and it's hard for schools to manage both of that.
Yeah, it sounds like a really great workaround for the issues that you just said, Nick, of YouTube being prohibited. And lastly, Spaces. I've never used this product that much, but maybe some of you guys have, but apparently it's getting shut down on April 17th.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Don't worry if you missed. You figure you missed out on something. You didn't. It was a cool product, but it never got released to education. And the thing is, April 17th, it's being shut down. But March 3rd, that's 2 days from now, you will not be able to edit it anymore. It's going to be view only in 2 days' time. So if there's details or comments and stuff that you, I don't want to put in there to say, hey guys, I'm moving this space to a different website or something like that, you only have 2 days to do that.
Yeah, I'm pleased about it because I think that it, one of the challenges is, you have redundancy. Are there too many tools that are similar? And so I felt like it probably wasn't. We have tools that we're using, and a lot of people were like, oh, they always want to use the latest and greatest Google thing. And as trainers, there's only so much time in the day to train. So if I can say without offending anyone, I'm pleased about that.
Yeah, I think the decision from Google is because of all the different messaging apps that Google has launched over the last year or so, from Allo and Duo to Hangouts and Chats, right? That there's just a lot of different things, and I think it's about consolidating the best ones for customers. Okay. Cool. Now, just to shift gears a little bit on two new exciting things that have come out of the trainer program and that we've released over the last 48, maybe 72 hours. The first is a trainer nomination form. I'll actually let Justin talk about that, a nomination form, and it's a really cool thing to be able to spread trainer awareness. And then I'll talk about the district Train the Trainer plan. So Justin, feel free to jump in there.
Yeah, so over the weekend, I sent a message out on the group announcing that we now have a nomination form for the Certified Trainer program. And if you guys are familiar with the Certified Innovator program, this is the same kind of model that they use. So we wanted to use it for our program now. So this nomination form is open to any current certified trainer. And on that form, you can nominate someone who you think will be a perfect fit for the program. And what's cool about this is, like, along with your nomination, we will send the person who you're nominating a voucher for the trainer skills assessment. And also, they will know that you nominate them. So if you guys give them a cool shout out or say a specific reason why they think that they should join, we'll add that piece of content into an email that we'll be sending them to encourage them to apply for the program. So once they are nominated, they'll get a better chance of getting into the program since it's coming from a certified trainer. So again, I'll put in that URL into the show notes if it isn't there already. But for now, you could look up that form on the Google group as I posted it. I think it was last Friday. So this is a new form that we're trying out, and we're hoping to get it up and running in the next few weeks or so we could send out those vouchers. But if you have any other questions about this form, please feel free to contact me or the group alias, GFE-certified-trainer@google.com.
Right. And I would just want to add that I think this is something that's really great for the program because it ensures that we keep the right people in the program and we welcome the right people into the program. As it gets bigger, there's going to be a lot of people who are applying, and we certainly trust the people that already are in the program to find the next batch and next generation of certified trainers. And we trust though your referrals and your nominations so much that, like Justin said, we'll be offering them a voucher for the trainer skills assessment, and also they'll be looked at with kinder eyes on the review side too. Yeah, we're really looking forward to see who you guys nominate, and the trainers who nominate the most candidates, we will recognize them in future Hangouts, and we'll figure out a way to maybe get you a prize or something too at the end of the cycle. So yeah. Please pop in any friends or colleagues that you know who would be good fits.
Also, as of now, there is no limit for the number of people that you can nominate. So all certified trainers are welcome to nominate as many qualified educators as they want. So that's an important note to take in mind as well.
I think it's good to point out, I do a number of Google Educator level 1 and 2 like certification trainings. And I always go through in the beginning what the certification program is, what the options are, and then that you do level 1 and 2 to become an innovator or trainer, and then what type of path you might want to pursue based on your role or interests. And you really do open their eyes to further their goals, because they came and said, oh, I want to become a Google level 1 educator, and many of them don't know that that potential exists. And as you work with people, and you develop these relationships with them that are long-term, those are the people that you end up nominating. Those are the people that were coming with that goal in mind and have already started to become part of the Google community. So I just wanted to say, if you are training people and helping them with the Google level 1 and 2 certifications, be on the lookout, and also let them know about the advanced options as well.
Yeah, like since we relaunched the program last year, we did add the requirement for them to have the L1 and L2 and now the trainer skills assessment. And like you said, Allison, like once they've gone through the L1 and L2, they'll just need to take the skills assessment. And then if they're interested in that path, then it's going to be easier for them.
Excellent. Okay, guys, I'd just like to mention as well, again, if you have any questions on our, we have a slide there, goo.gl/slides/RTJ2J7 for any kind of questions we have. We're kind of monitoring the comments in the chat. I don't see any questions there, Nick, do you?
There haven't any questions shown up there. There were a couple of people touching on base on the YouTube part about adding audio to slides, and that's a little bit more complicated and not as possible, but when we were talking about the video part, but the video part definitely is something that is a big benefit. And I would also like to remind people as they go to present, or not to present, to apply for the trainer, or you're prepping people for the trainer application after you've nominated them, encourage them to, as they do, we request that they share 5 Google trainings, at least a list of that, and at least one of them, your feedback. So take time to do a formal feedback, do a Google form, share the feedback from that, and be sure to include that into your application, because that is something that you are scored on with it, and want to be sure that people remind them to collect that information. And it's always helpful as a trainer to see what came across, what you need to work on as a trainer, or maybe if you're working with a group again, what you need to focus on, what they understood, what they didn't, because all that type of feedback is very helpful. I'm right now in the middle of doing a very large feedback for our big PD day that was a couple of weeks ago, doing lots and lots of cutting and pasting and pivot tables and fun stuff.
Ooh, pivot tables. Okay, let's kind of move things along then. Let's look at the Hangouts. So that's
Trevor, can I actually just comment on the last piece
Sure.
on that slide too?
Sure.
Yeah, on the previous slide. Yesterday, I sent out this the Google for Education Train the Trainer plan. And now I know that many of you are training, right? You're working in the classroom with teachers, but some of you also plan professional development for an entire district. You're a director of instructional technology and so forth. Now, this is a great resource that we've just created to help you build a team of people that are like-minded and similar to you. So this is a way to kind of expand your own presence and to take on a leadership role at your district to train other teachers to become certified trainers. So this is a great response to what districts are looking for, which is more embedded coaching on a school by school like basis, to have someone at every school, or at the very least, every other school, work with teachers in on demand and be able to answer questions. So if you would like to see more of yourself at your district and to really take on a leadership role, we have this really pretty, I think, intuitive step-by-step guide of just how you can find, train, and motivate people to become certified trainers at your district. So yeah, feel free to, use it and adapt it, and let us know if you have any questions.
David, where's that resource?
That resource is linked, I believe, in the show notes. If it's not, I'll add it right afterwards, but I also sent it across the Google group yesterday. And there's a link and a PDF involved in that.
Yeah, I think it's a really great process, and thankful for that you all have created that. I just prepped two people in my district who just became trainers, and prepping some more, and we'll have did a lot individually, and it's nice to have that resource to share to help people with the process.
Cool.
Excellent. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you there, David. So let's talk about Hangouts. So one of the things that a lot of people have been asking about is how to do Hangouts. And we have two different kinds of Hangouts. We have our regular Hangouts and we have Hangouts on air. So I'm going to start the ball off rolling with Hangouts. And then Allison's going to pick things up and show you how to do a Hangout on air, which is the live broadcast like we're doing right now. And in fact, I think Google just renamed it YouTube Live. Is that correct? Yeah. So, yeah. So Allison will take you through that because she's done lots of that kind of stuff. What I want to kind of focus on is with the Hangouts. Everyone's probably familiar with how to do a Hangout through your Gmail and how to set it up in a calendar and stuff. I actually work at an institution where we do not have access to Gmail or Google Calendar. We are currently using another third-party product. We're actually moving over to Microsoft for those two services. But we still have access to the Google stuff. And I make use of Google Hangouts all the time. So I just, for anyone that may not be aware of how to do this, I want to show you some of the other ways that you can get access to the Hangouts. So I'm going to start by screen sharing. If my screen sharing stops, can you guys let me know? Because sometimes it's been cutting out on me. So if you are logged in with your Google for Education or your Google for Business accounts, and you go to hangouts.google.com, you'll see this window. Now, so it's a little bit different than some people are normally seeing. It's got all the stuff built into it. So there's where all the chat goes in. You've got the 3 different apps right there, messaging. You can make phone calls to anywhere in Canada or United States for free. This is a really cool function because even if you're in Germany, you can still call back to the United States because it's the destination that you're phoning to is where the free calls come in. So as long as it's free in, sorry, as long as the call is to Canada or United States, doesn't matter where you are, you're going to get that call for free. The big thing here is video calls. And that's what we're going to take a look at right now. Google Chrome has the plugin built in for you to do video calls. It's not available through the other browsers, so those people have to actually get an extension added to their devices. So when I'm talking to people about doing Hangouts, I always say to them, hey, you know, I've got a link here I want you to take to do this video call. Please use Chrome, because that way you don't have to worry about whether or not they got all the details, all the resources built in, whether they have to install a plugin or not. It just automatically goes there. This functionality is kind of like an app, whereas if I'm here on this page, that works great. But the moment I leave this page, I'm going to be shown as offline because I'm not actually viewing this page. There is an extension you can get called Google Hangouts that keeps you logged in all the time. And I really recommend, if you've never used it before, take a look, find it, and install it, because that will make sure that as long as you've got Chrome up and running, doesn't matter what page you're on, you'll appear logged in and you'll be able to send and receive information. So video calls. If I was on my personal account and I clicked on that link, it would take me into the Google Hangout directly. Because I'm using my education account, it automatically brings me into this where I can pick a name for a Hangout name. Think of this like a room, because these names that we're going in is not private to me. If I call something called test, and someone else happens to enter in test, they are going to join that room. So think of it like a physical room, room 101. If I walk into it and somebody else walks in it, we're both in the room. The Hangouts are the same thing. But that doesn't mean that you can't add some kind of security to it, but by picking a really weird name. So when I do my Hangouts and I'm working with people, I just usually use something like Trev, T-R-E-V. And then we go ahead and we're going to join that. Now, what's really nice about this is if you look up in the URL, I don't know if it displays very well on the screen here, but the URL here has this long thing, including my domain, and then the very last element here is Trev. That's the name of the room. So I can actually switch rooms just by typing in a different name there. So where it says Trev, I'll call it now Trev2. I'm now switching into a new room called Trev2. Whoops, don't need to see my screen there, but there it is. And you can see over here that it's called Trev2. What I typically do, I actually bookmark this, and this is a link I send out to people. So anytime I want them to join me in this room, I just say, hey guys, open up Chrome, paste this link in, come join in, and that's all they have to do. Because once they're in there, I can use the screen sharing or whatever other tools I need to use to do the work that we need to get done. Am I making sense so far, guys? Or okay. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see this more times than not. You'll see this building which says Trevor's Training Only Meeting. That means it's only available if you're in that domain, whatever the domain happens to be. If I was to try and join this using an incognito window, so something that I'm not logged into, it would end up blocking me. So the user would actually not end up getting a chance to go in. And I'm just going to screen share the whole screen this time. Make sure I've got the right screen. There it is. So this is that Trev2 one. This is the incognito window. If I try to go in, join this, so if I have a guest speaker that I want to join my class or something like that, they're prompted to log in. So Bob's going to try and log in. And there's a request to join. Now, the problem is this is automatically logged out, so it's not even going to accept requests from anyone external until I go into here and click on this link, and I'm going to change this from my domain only to allow outside calls. Now, allowing outside calls only means that if an external person is trying to join in, I still have to accept them to allow them to come in. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, do you guys know all this stuff, I assume?
I don't think everybody does.
What's that? Okay.
I think you're teaching people things.
Okay. So now what you can do is you can actually go in. I've joined up here and close that because I got major echo on my end. What you can do at the admin level, you can ask your administrators to allow external links. And that's what I've done for our university is we've said, please allow anyone to join in. So I can send this link to anybody in the world. It doesn't even matter if they have a Google account. They can come and join this thing, but they are going to, if they're not part of my domain, they are going to get prompted to ask, do you want to allow this person in? And when they do join in, they are only going to have limited amount. Like they don't have a bunch of tools off to the side. I think they probably have just the screen sharing. I don't think they even have text in there. But this is a great tool to work with people because when you're doing troubleshooting, I will often take this link and I will email it to somebody. And I always get the call or the comment, I can't do this because I don't have a microphone, I don't have a camera. I don't really care. All I want you to do is join this Hangout. Once they've joined the Hangout, even if they don't have a screen or anything, they can see what's on my screen. We can do screen sharing. And quite often what I'll say to people is, hey, you know what? Can you go just click on screen sharing and show me what's going on? And then I can do the troubleshooting without having to travel back and forth. For me, these are the things that are really underused by Hangouts is the fact that you don't have to have the video camera. You don't have to have the microphone. People understand how a telephone works, and they're comfortable with that. So you call them, ask them to click and paste this link into the Chrome, and that's it. You're up and running. So it makes life a lot easier for that kind of stuff. Any questions? Do I have any questions in the group? These are innovator questions. We'll talk about those afterwards, I guess. No, nothing there.
Nothing on the Q&A, and I don't think another one. At least there wasn't like 30 seconds ago.
Okay. So that's pretty much the really cool thing about the Hangouts. If you use hangouts.google.com is you can have a consistent link. And as I build committees and teams and stuff, we will create a link. So that initial screen, when it says put in the name of a link, we'll call one web services, which is the department I belong into. And anytime we need to meet, we just click on that link. I don't have to worry about a calendar, setting that in the link. It can be used for any calendaring product. It doesn't have to be just a Google product. And there's that shortcut link. Click on that, and we always join the web services team. And that's how we can have our meetings, even though we don't have access to Gmail or Google Calendar in our institution.
That's pretty cool.
And I think it's a great way to connect with other trainers, because sometimes you can be the only one in your state or province, and you need to connect with others to come up with ideas. I will tell you, it was a year or two before Alice and I met face to face. We had met on multiple Hangouts. I think either one of us demonstrating how to use Hangouts and say, can we connect with people across the world? So I know you were in Bulgaria one time, and trying to think where else. So many places. And then we met in Arkansas. And then we met in Arkansas face to face, of all places.
Yeah, it's. I wish, like, in my institution, we have an older group of people that have been around for a while, and they're not comfortable with technology. And the one thing that's really interesting is a lot of people will say, "I don't like to see my face." That's the first thing they say. And so, that's why I always say, well, you don't have to show your face. I'm just going to phone you, and then I'm just going to share my screen, or you're going to share your screen. And that actually means I don't have to walk the 2 or 4 buildings across the campus to get to where you're at for a 2-minute consult. Because, it's just a matter of, I'm going to see what they're doing, click on a link, and then I'm going to come back to my office. This way, I save so much time that when I do my meetings, I'll meet the person for the first time. And then after that, it's like everything's through Hangouts because it's not worth my time to walk back and forth. I want to show one trick for you guys, and then I'm going to pass you back on to Allison. Again, let me just share my screen here. With Hangouts, typically what happens with a lot of people is they have a full window. So the screen takes up the whole window there. You know what? I'm not sharing the right screen, so let's try that again. Come on. There we go. So this is the whole screen of the Hangout. And then what happens is they'll get a link and they'll open it up and they'll start working on the document here. If you're working collaboratively, you don't have to have this screen all the way open. So go like this, pretend that you can see at the bottom here, my picture, but let's say there's like 15 different pictures there. You could have all those faces there, but then take whatever document you're working on and put it side by side. So that way I can work on this document, I can still see whoever's talking and whatever reactions are. And then you've got that ability to see reactions. You can see what you can see the judgment in their eyes sometimes. But at least you can see that while still working on the full document. So don't think that you have to have that full screen. Quite often I will, just have a little screen small like this. The other thing is when you're screen sharing, right now I'm screen sharing this whole desktop, but sometimes I really don't want them to see all of it, or else I don't want, like right now you can barely see what's in the calendar there. So I'm going to reshare my screen. I can't show you this, but you have choices of sharing the entire screen or just the application. Actually, hang on. You know what? I'm going to do that. Let me just show you. This gets confusing because I'm on one screen and now I'm going to another computer account and I'm going to try and screen this way. So if here I can see the whole screen that I have access to, this one here. But I can also pick just the specific application or the window. So when I want to just focus on the calendar, I can go like that. And down here you can see this is what he's screen sharing right now. And then I can resize my my window to whatever I need. When we're doing when I'm showing you these slides here, I'm actually just screen sharing just that one slide. So you'll notice how it doesn't fill the screen, but when I go in and I just select the application window for that slide, now it shares up more of the screen. You can see more details and what's going on. So those are just a couple of tricks for the screen sharing aspect of it. And that's all I got just on using the regular Hangouts. Any questions before we move on?
One of our viewers.
Oh, Nick, you muted. Somehow you got muted. Can you unmute and repeat, please?
There we go. One of our viewers commented that her teachers were very thankful when she showed them how to turn off the video and just put up their picture and just turning that part. And you just do that by clicking the camera real quick, and I can do that real quick. I turn the camera off, and now we have that image there. I turned it back on, and so that is a nice little feature because I used to do that with other theater teachers in my district. We'd meet on our early release day via Hangouts, and this would turn the picture part off.
I think one of the most disappointing parts of what's happened with Google Hangouts is when they got rid of Google Effects, because that allowed you to put on the pirate hat and the glasses and stuff like that. And that really helped people get over their inhibitions of seeing their faces, because it's different to see my face versus a clown nose and something else going on. And I hope that they, in the new version, they can bring some of that back, because I think that really helps people get used to using these tools.
Well, the kids definitely love it. And, you have the Dr. Seuss hat, which is great for the 3rd of this week.
Of course, right. Allison, can you take us on to a tour of Hangouts on air, please?
I would be happy to. Okay, so just background on that, we are doing a Hangout on air. The name of that may change, but we'll talk about that in a later episode. However, Hangouts on air have been available through YouTube before they were taken away from Google+. The ability to run Hangouts on air in YouTube has been there for a very long time. So I have videos that go back a couple of years showing folks how to do this. So it's not a difficult thing to do. And you can do it on the fly. I'm going to do a screen share with you now. It's really nice because if you want to give feedback and you don't have a video editor handy, you can just grab YouTube and do a live stream. So what we have here, you're looking at the Get Help Hangouts. If I go to the video manager for the Get Help Hangouts channel, you can see that, the Hangouts are there. You have this link over here for live streaming, and that's how they're actually set up and scheduled. But rather than work in this environment, I'm going to hop over to a YouTube channel that we can kind of play around with. And I'm going to start with the best for last, probably or I should just say probably the burning question, because so many trainers now know how to do this and many do not, but many do, but they don't know how to get that link and embed code, because they get here and they've got their, you can see this was scheduled for a while ago, but that's okay. They've got this scheduled and then they want to share the link and they can't seem to find out where to do that. It's okay to click on Start Hangout on Air. Because remember, it doesn't start until you actually start the broadcast. And then at the bottom, you'll see the link, ability to grab the link, and you'll have the YouTube link, and you'll also have the embed code. So that's how you do it. Get what you need, and then you just close out. You don't start the broadcast, all right? So that's the tail end of it. Now, anything I show you here is I have 2 YouTube videos where back in September when it was, you know, they were saying, okay, we're taking it away. I made a couple of help videos, because the first thing you need to know before you actually can run a Hangout on Air from your YouTube channel is you have to have your channel set up. And you all do, I'm sure, because you're trainers. But if you're not a trainer and you don't have your YouTube channel set up, the first time you're at YouTube, you click on the menu on the left, you go to My Channel, you'll be prompted to set up your channel. That's number 1. Number 2, you're ready to do live streaming. So just go to your video manager. And yes, there is a link that you can go to directly to youtube.com/live streaming. But it's good to know the inner workings of your own account so you can manage it properly. So you're in YouTube, you go to the video manager, your videos are there, and there you have this thing called live streaming. Now, the first time you click on this, it will prompt you to verify your account, basically to get permission. And the link in the show notes has the instructions if you're confused on how to do that. But basically, you're going to get a screen that pops up. It says you need to verify, and you need to put in your phone number, and they'll send you a code, text you a code, and you put it in, and then you're ready to go. So the first time, you have a little bit of setup. The second piece is streaming now or events. And I would, this would be good to say like stream for the future, but it says events, which is fine. So here I click on events. I can start a now with this tool. So whether I'm streaming instantly or scheduling something for a month from now, I click on events and you see a button in the right-hand side that says new live event. And then you can create the event. And here you have the options that you do when you upload a video. Do you want it to be unlisted? Do you want it to be private and just share it with one student? Or in this case, we're showing you how you might want to do the, you know, proverbial Hangout on Air. So we'll do a Hangout on Air demo again, and we'll schedule it. Now, I could run it today right now, but let's just say we want to schedule it for March 3rd at 4 p.m. You can add your description, you can add your tags, there's advanced settings. Make sure, this is really important, these boxes for Twitter and Google+, if you don't want your YouTube video to show up on Google+ or YouTube or Twitter, make sure they're unchecked. Sometimes I've been, you know, doing a test and they were checked, and then I noticed later how silly it was that I tweeted it out. So with that being said, you're now ready to create your event. Oh, I didn't make it for them. March 3rd, 4 p.m. I'll add an end time, 6 p.m. Now I have it scheduled and I create it. That's at that point, you can go in and grab your embed code. So you see I have it scheduled. I can start the Hangout on Air. And that's what Trevor did today. We all joined by this link. So all of us that are part of this, the Get Help Hangouts, we all joined this, you know, opened it up. Say hi, Shadow. Oh, sorry. And there's your link down here. So you can grab your embed code. Let me hide this. Okay, so this is processing here. It probably looks familiar if you've done Hangouts on Air before, because you've got your ability now to start the broadcast. So I start my broadcast, and it says your Hangout on Air will now be on YouTube. And I click OK. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live. This is a demo Hangout on Air that is being recorded like any other Hangout. Thank you for joining us today. Stop broadcast. And now I can hang up, you know, I'm off air. I hang up, it says your Hangout on air is over. Click here to get to it. And that will be a direct link. So if you're doing like a screencast and you want to like see if it's, you want to preview it, click on the direct link. If you don't like the way it came out, you can delete it and start again, just so you know. And then there it is. It's ready to go. This live stream, because I've already run it, is already there. But the day that you go to run your Hangout, it would be March 3rd. So when folks go to that page, they're going to see that it's not yet running, and then it will count down. It's like it did today. It's about to run in 3 seconds, and here's your chat. So what we have going in our Hangout today, let's close all this. I was monitoring the chat. So there's the Hangout. I have it muted. So if you're doing a Hangout on air from YouTube and you want to monitor the live chat, just mute here, because obviously you're going to want your speaker going for your own Hangout, but mute the video and you'll have access to the live chat. And if you're managing it yourself, you'll be jumping around. But it's nice if you have a helper that can answer questions in live stream and compliment you as you go along and cheer you on. I think that's all, because in the show notes, I have 2 videos that go through it a lot slower, and you'll be able to watch those at your leisure and get your individual questions answered.
Thank you.
Excellent. You know what? It's funny. I keep forgetting about that link in the bottom right-hand corner to get the YouTube link and the production link. I end up opening up windows and stuff, so I keep forgetting that. So thank you for that refresher. And as I discovered, where Allison showed the live chat, you can click on there when you're managing it, and it'll pull it off as a separate page, because that's what I've done to watch the chat. So then I don't have to worry about clicking the mute button, because Lord knows I've done that many times before. But with today, I figured that part out. So thank you. We had one question from Jennifer on this. It says, do you guys pre-record Hangouts a lot for a live event later when you can moderate the chat, or do you just jump in? Allison, do you want to handle that? Because you were doing it.
I don't think I've ever pre-recorded anything and done a live chat. I think I've always done it live.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to pre-record it, load it up to YouTube, and then just use the YouTube comments to manage the questions. But it's also very difficult, unless you got special software and stuff, to take a video recording and play it through the YouTube channel and stuff. And in fact, depending on what you're doing, Google might actually say, you know what, this is, what's the word I want, breach of our broadcast requirements and stuff. So I can't take a piece of a video from a movie and then rebroadcast it to the world. So you have to be careful about rebroadcasting video anyways, because Google will pick up stuff. And I know people who have done that, and they've accidentally had their account shut down for a month at a time while they try to explain, oh no, this was just a video I had from somewhere other source.
I think, like Allison and I, and probably are just used to doing it as we go. It's flying the plane and watching those things. It does help if you have multiple monitors, because then you can throw the chat up on the right-hand side, and you can look over there as you need to. And I think that's probably either doing a split screen or having multiple monitors hooked up to your Chromebook or computer is a way to help manage those questions as they come in.
Yeah, I don't know how you would do that. I just checked, you know how I scheduled my event for Friday, but I recorded it. It's now off my event board. So I don't, if there's a way, maybe there's a clever trainer out there watching. It's like, I know workaround.
Yeah,
I think you're going to have to get some fancy equipment to do that part.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to point out, because I learned this last year and it just kind of stunned me because it's so apparent, is when Allison was going through, you could set it up as a private, a public event, a private event. Sorry, what was it? Public, not listed, and private. And so with private event, I could basically do a Hangout on air, and only myself and whoever I invite can see that. But if you don't have screen capturing software like Camtasia or something like that, you can just do a private Hangout and it will grab all that, it'll grab all that screen stuff and then save it to your YouTube channel. And then afterwards, if you want, you can make it live or you can download it, use the editor or what have you. But I mean, yeah, if you don't have Camtasia and you don't feel like downloading some third party like Screencastify or something like that, you just do a private Hangout. It does exactly the same thing.
And just a reminder, as for becoming a trainer, if you search Google Group, there'll be a link to get Camtasia and Snagit for free because you are a Google for Education trainer. So don't forget that little perk, because that's always a nice thing. And I find the blocking out stuff and the where you can make stuff blurry is great for when I'm showing how to do stuff with our student information system, but I can't share that student information.
Yeah, very, very good point. Make sure you're not having private, personal information up there. Thank you very much, Allison, for that presentation. That was great.
You're welcome.
So, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
I just was going to touch on a couple of questions because I think in 5 days, the next deadline for the Google for Education Certified Innovator is due, and there were a couple of questions out there, and so I'm going to do my best to answer those for them. You do need to have your Google for Education Level 2 certification complete. Now, if you've become a trainer recently, you already have those, but if you have the 5 tests before, that does not help with applying for the innovator. So you just want to hop on there and do that in the next couple of minutes or couple of days. But if you're already a trainer, it's just going to be a nice little review for you. So don't let it stress you out. And it's a good review on some other things. And then the other thing I would encourage people, there was a question, does Google provide travel costs? No, they do not. So it's up to you to get your way to the next one's London. And if you are a U.S. citizen, then or any other probably type of citizen, you want to be sure you have the proper access to visas and passports and those type of things. And then I will say that you do not need to worry about the food any of the day of the Innovators Academy because Google Food feeds you very well. But if you are accepted, you'll start sharing names and connect and be able to find a roommate if you need to and those type of things. And of course, if you use your Google searching skills, you can find an affordable place to stay while you're in London or wherever the next one after that may be. And then my advice would be find your passion, find an innovative idea, and really get succinct with it because you only have a minute to get that across. So like for me, when I did it was doing theater and ed tech. That's what was my passion at that time. But just look at the other people's ideas out there. But it's really coming up with that idea and sharing that passion, making sure it's understandable in that minute long and with your vision deck. That's all I have to say about those type of things.
Thanks, Nick. We've got 5 minutes left, so we're going to just try and get through a couple more slides here, and hopefully we'll address most of the questions by then. Next thing, I'm not sure who submitted this. This is the trainer slide that someone or trainer submitted resources. Did you do this one, David? Did you do this one, Allison?
I did not.
Okay. So magically this showed up, and it actually was very timing. So part of the trainer submitted resources, we like to go through the old bag there and pull out something and take a look. This was submitted by Christen Bouffard. My apologies if I've spelt that or pronounced that wrong. It's the tips for using Google Hangouts, and there's actually some really nice tips in there on doing the Hangouts. Things like making sure you've got decent lighting, making sure you've got good audio, all those kind of things that a lot of people don't think about. You know, the lighting from behind is always a bad thing to do. So if you have time, by all means, please take a look at that document. There's some really good tips in there that'll help you out with that kind of stuff. The next thing we want to look at is, what's the next one? Oh, random share. I don't know if anyone else put one in, but I put one in real quick. Trainer name tags. Working with David and Justin, we actually have some name tag templates. So you can basically go in, take your name, just slap it in there, save it as a PDF file, and then you can take the PDF, go to your printer, if it happens to be at the school and they are already printing cards, like student ID cards and stuff, they can print this off as well. Throw a magnet on the back, and then you've got something you can put on any shirt that you own, not just the ones that you have to buy. So that's a good one. Nick, you had down Google Keep and Docs. Did you want to go any more on that, or are we good?
I think we're good. I would just remind people that really now helps you with the writing process, because you can take your notes as students are researching in Google Keep, and then as you're creating your research document, you can then throw them to Google Keep, and then also vice versa. Maybe you've got a thought and then you need to share that with others. And don't forget to use that grab text from image feature. That's really nice in Google Keep.
Excellent, thank you. And David, the next section we're looking at is our trainer shoutouts. David, you want to address that, please?
Yeah, so I want to give shout outs to 2 certified trainers, Jeff Utecht and Lissa Lehman, for helping us set up a partnership with Coattail. I don't know if you guys have heard of this certification, but it's a certification, I think a 13-month, even 8-month certification to help educators learn how to integrate technology in general. And we really felt like there was a great synergy between the 2 programs. And so we've announced a partnership with Coattail in which certified trainers and Coattail members, by going through their respective course requirements, they are then granted priority access in the respective program. So as an example, if you are a Coattailer, current Coattailer, and you go through the Coattail courses and fulfill Coattail requirements, then we look at that Coattailer's application and basically really give them exempted status around certain elements of the application, and we look at them with, on the application committee, we look at them and we say, hey, this is a great candidate for our program. And it goes vice versa too. If you're a certified trainer, you can now apply to Coattail and also receive preferred access to becoming a Coattail member. So just a great shout out to Jeff and Lisa for bridging this opportunity, and we'll share more details about the actual specifics of what the implications for the programs in a future Hangout.
Excellent. Thank you very much, guys. So that's it. We're at 1 hour. Perfect timing, right down to the second. Thank you all for joining us, our guest panel, as well as those of you that are watching live online. If you found something valuable in there, please feel free to pass it on, okay? Because this isn't just for the Google trainers, even though we've kind of geared a lot of information to that. But please feel free to pass it on. We've got a YouTube channel for all of our broadcasts in there. The link's in the show notes. So if you want to click on that, or you can just click on the YouTube account and you'll find all the different videos we've put up there. But please make sure you pass that information on. Hope you guys learned something, and that's it. Until next month. We'll talk to you then.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.